Let's go. And we are live. Finally, what is going on, Touchdown Labs, folks? We are back. Sorry, I pulled my back. Ended up moving. A few things happened. Haven't been able to make a video in quite some time. But, guys, we're back here. The Cowboys are 3-4. How do I feel about this? Disgusted. Disgusted with the team. Disgusted with the effort. Disgusted with what's going on with the coaching staff and the lack of creativity on the staff. So really what I wanted to start with was you'll see on the right side of the screen, there's a top 15 draft order and what the team needs are. We're going to start draft season a little bit early this year and start going through some players, and not just for the Cowboys. This is, the Center for Touchdown Research. So I'm going to be going through top 100 prospects, and that's really what I do, guys. And this is going to be my first year documenting that journey. So I won't get into too long of a video today, but coming out this week, you'll see on the top of the screen, we'll go ahead and do some film work and compare Shadur Sanders, Cam Ward, and Quinn Ewers, the top three prospects that are coming into the 2025 season. But honestly, before we even get there and before we even get the draft, I want to talk about this team, and it's still fairly new. Really, what's happening right now with the team is they're going through a hard time right now, and lots of people are thinking that this is something that is deserved because of what happened in the offseason and the lack of efforts and signing players and letting key players go in free agency, mainly to the Commanders with Dan Quinn. But there's a lot of other reasons for this as well, and heard quite a few comments around really the Cowboys not putting in a lot of effort in the offseason and getting by being average. And this average team is getting by with talent only. And this draft and develop is a little bit of a mirage. And what's happening is with high end players and the luck of the draw with them not getting injured, we're able to beat up on the bad teams. But now these quote unquote bad teams have turned into better teams in our division. Cowboys are not guaranteed to win against the Commanders anymore every single year. They're not guaranteed even one win anymore every single year. That division split could happen just as well with the Eagles. Commanders now have Dan Quinn, who has the blueprint on the Cowboys and how this coaching staff operates under Mike McCarthy. And he also has a blueprint on what the Cowboys had in terms of their documentation and collection of information for the Eagles and the Giants in this division. And he's taken that with him to the Commanders, who are, you know, they're quite lucky right now to be 6-2 and 3 games up on the Cowboys. Not lucky in the sense of anything to do with Dallas, but they had a Hail Mary their last game. They've been playing good football with Marcus Mariota, and their team is solid all around. They have really good depth. Defense is carrying them in games, and Daniels is able to just do enough for him to look good. Get Terry McLaurin involved. You have Robinson there involved as well, and Eckler's been a good help in the backfield. You can see that they haven't ignored their backfield, and this is a big reason why their record is so compared to the Cowboys. But let's get into this, guys. This is the coaching tree. This is some research done by, I believe, the Washington or New York Post. I'll go ahead and minimize this in a little bit and let you guys know where this is from. But I wanted to go ahead and discuss where Mike McCarthy's coaching tree was from and do a little bit of research to some other coaching trees here as well. So Mike Holmgreen, he is coming under the Green Bay staff. Really, Mike McCarthy is a successor to Mike Holmgreen. So Andy Reid here, 188, 120, and 1. He coached the Eagles up until 2012, and we all know where he is right now with Kansas City. So he started working under Dick Cotter at UTEP, and then his main influence was Mike Holmgreen, who he worked under for several years, 7 years it says here, as a tight ends and quarterbacks coach. And you can see in Kansas, this is something that's showing on their offense. And he actually looks like Mike Holmgren a little bit himself. Now, if we go down here, Shermer, he was given a chance here in New York, and he was in on Andy Reid's first staff as well. Stayed in Philly, didn't do really a great job, but I believe he's on a staff right now, and we can do a little bit of research and look this up. Pat Shermer right now is working for Colorado as the offensive coordinator. Had a feeling I saw him somewhere. Um, Having a little bit of success there, likely going back to college to work with Shadur Sanders. So that's very, very interesting. Now we have John Harbaugh here next, and he's also coached under Andy Reid. You can probably see why they keep losing to Kansas City. Andy Reid knows John Harbaugh in and out, and he joined the Eagles as a special teams coordinator in 1998. John Harbaugh is kind of known for being a head coach that's come into the NFL, and no head coach has really come into the NFL and been able to come in as a special teams coordinator and then turn into a head coach. But took over for the Ravens, and then history was made there. Baltimore is a very, very strong team in the NFL. Another one coming out of Andy Reid's coaching tree, Sean McDermott. He has the Buffalo Bills right now. Buffalo Bills are 6-2. They'll be playing Kansas City in a couple of weeks, so that'll be interesting as well. And everybody's probably wondering why Andy Reid has all of these coaches under his thumb and he's able to win these games. It's because, guys, he's you know he's raised these guys. He's raised these coaches. Sean McDermott's been under him, under Ron Rivera in Carolina as well. But these guys all started off in Philly, and he worked his way up from a scouting assistant to defensive coordinator. And then Ron Rivera, Bears linebacker, NFL experience. Um, he also coached linebackers in Philadelphia and became a very successful head coach and coached that Panthers team to the Super Bowl. Unfortunately, lost with Cam Newton, but he's also has a pretty good resume. Wilkes has been, not as good as Ron Rivera in Carolina, but he's also a former NFL player. We'll kind of move on from him. Doug Peterson, coaching the Jaguars right now, Super Bowl winning head coach for the Eagles. You can see why the Eagles were interested in bringing him back. He has some lineage there. And he went ahead and won the Super Bowl for them. And now he's coaching the Jacksonville Jaguars, who are doing quite well this season, but he's led them to a playoff berth last season there as well. And then Frank Reich, probably fired prematurely, and the Colts aren't a great organization. Their owner isn't a great owner as well, so the jury's on the table for that one. And then Matt Nagy didn't have really a successful bout there in Chicago. He drafted a quarterback quite high there that he probably shouldn't have, and Mitch Trubisky isn't that guy, and I wouldn't put the success or lack of success on Trubisky, but I'd say that Reed brought Nagy back, and he's been successful there in Kansas City. John Gruden, got me feeling nicey. John Gruden's somebody who I look up to. He's been kind of going back and forth with me in our DMs, so shout out to John Gruden. Shout out to the Gruden podcast. And great coach, ESPN analyst for a long time that explained the game extremely well when we watched it as younger kids. And it looks like he's trying to get his way back into coaching, or at least into the football realm with his videos and podcasts and kind of vlogging the games. But Gruden here is also coming from this tree from Mike Holmgren, and you can see this tree is pretty strong. The people coming from Gruden's side of this is what makes up this quote unquote Sean McVay tree, Kyle Shanahan tree, Sean McVay's grandfather coached with the Giants as well, so he has some NFL experience there. And their family, you can see, is very, very close. And he started off as a low level assistant in John's Tampa Bay staff. And I wouldn't say that this is some kind of dream story where Sean, started off as a low level assistant and worked his way up to NFL head coach. Like his grandfather was very, very well known in the NFL atmosphere. So John kind of probably just used that tough mindset to kind of make him work his way up. But Mike Shanahan, also kind of the same story. Kyle Shanahan's his son. They have lots of overlap here, as it says. Shanahan's biggest influence is his father. And I believe Mike is still said to be silently watching tape for the 49ers and was a big, big voice in them kind of letting Trey Lance go and letting Brock Purdy start. But Shanahan coordinated some offenses here for Gary Kubiak and Dan Quinn, who also kind of comes for this tree. And Jay Gruden was probably a pretty good coach, I'd say, when he did coach here and coaching RG3 in Washington. I remember him quite well. Let's see what he's up to right now. I'm curious to see if he's still in the football world and coaching, or if his brother's kind of you know, situation has sabotaged him. But no, it looks like since 2020 he hasn't been coaching. He's the offensive coordinator for the Jacksonville Jaguars as his last gig. So this is one tree that I wanted to go through. Another important tree, and we're already about 10 minutes into this live here, and really I don't think we're going to be able to get to the draft film, but that just means I'll be able to get you guys another video out this week on the QBs. But I feel like this coaching tree discussion is well warranted, and it's something unique. Don't see any other content creators really focusing on this, and everyone wants to know what the Dallas Cowboys are going to do. If they continue to lose, yeah, we can talk about draft. You guys can see here there's 15 teams that are locked in right now as of this week to pick in the top 15, and Dallas is 13 there with running back, wide receiver, and really anything on the D line being their top one need. But I also wanted to talk about the coaching staff. We know that it's likely, if not 80 to 90% chance that Mike and the staff get fired at the end of this year, especially if they lose this week and we can't make the playoffs. So interesting conversation to have here, kind of looking at these trees. And as we go down, you'll see some familiar faces in terms of the tree the Cowboys are kind of working out of, and some of these other trees that we're discussing here as well. So I'd say that first tree, we're starting off with Mike Holmgreen, and Andy Reid is born from that tree. Some great coaches there. We'll go ahead and revisit that one more time just to see John Harbaugh, Andy Reid, Sean McDermott, got a Super Bowl winning head coach in Doug Peterson, another one in John Gruden. Then you have that Shanahan tree being born from Gruden's side. Um, Now we have the Bill Parcells coaching tree. So Bill Parcells, everybody in Dallas knows about him. Todd Bowles, fantastic coach here. Todd Bowles is currently coaching the decimated Tampa Bay Buccaneers, who were doing fantastic this year until really Mike Evans had that hamstring injury. Chris Godwin broke his ankle. Their only receiving threat now is Cade Otton until really Mike Evans can come back. And then all they're left with is Bucky Irving. Just taking a look and making sure that everything is good with the stream. You guys, we set up a little new studio here, so hoping that everything's okay with the audio and the video. It'll take me some time to kind of go through this and figure out the best way to get this uploaded to you guys. Let me just take a look here to see if everything's okay. Looks like we are, which is fantastic. All right. Now, we're going to get to this Bill Parcells tree here. Once again, sorry about that, guys. Take a little bit of a water break here. Been going for quite a while, and guys, it's healthy to drink water, okay? Don't have to be on stream and not drinking any water here, kind of being a zombie. Todd Bowles, like we were saying, coaching this Tampa Bay team, who was quite successful. Bowles also worked for Andy Reid, but his main influence is Bill's Parcell, who he's a secondary coach for 2 seasons. And he also was an assistant when Parcells was working for Miami. Now, the biggest suspect potential, biggest coach that could be a potential to come coach the Dallas Cowboys, Bill Belichick. His greatest influence is also Bill Parcells. Who knows if Bill Parcells in private has told him that he probably should never do this or take this job from Jerry Jones, but it seems like there's a ton of respect there and there is a possibility. So, in terms of us having this discussion with Bill Parcells and who we can bring over, looking at a familiar face at the bottom of the screen, Mike Vrabel, who looks like he wants to get back into football as well. And for him to be a defensive coordinator, that would be something I could see them welcoming. And I'm not gonna say it, but I'm just gonna say it because I see his face here. If it was Bill Belichick as head coach, Jason Garrett as offensive coordinator, and Mike Vrabel as defensive coordinator, would you guys be so mad? I don't know. Maybe. Could be. It depends. I'm just going to take a breath after that one because I didn't even want to think about it. Bill O'Brien could be a potential offensive coordinator, and then obviously Matt Patricia could be a potential defensive coordinator that he could bring with him. Uh, Sean Payton also coming out of this tree. Broncos 5-2 this year. Everybody kind of gave up on Sean Payton, but he's built that team up to be a defensive powerhouse and continue to do that with Pat Surtain leading at cornerback. And now he has Bo Nix, first year quarterback, playing competent football well enough that they can get wins and be able to compete. Doug Marone, first offensive coordinator, hasn't really been in the league. Could we see a potential of this tree and Mike Zimmer coming from this Bill Parcells tree and being retained if Bill Belichick is brought on as head coach because he has that experience? That's something to ponder on as well. Then Anthony Lynn, he's another coach that has a mentor with mentorship with Rex Ryan. Could see Rex Ryan trying to get into coaching again as well. He looked like he was calling the Cowboys and kind of banging on the table for them to sign him as the defensive coordinator, but really that didn't work out. And now we're at this third tree here, and this is an interesting tree because this is the Marty Schottenheimer tree, and this is where the Dallas Cowboys coach comes from. And the Marty Schottenheimer tree has Mike McCarthy, Marvin Lewis. Marvin Lewis has been interviewed for the Cowboys job several times. It also has Monte Kiffin, former Cowboys defensive coordinator, and I believe he oversaw some kind of operations. Mike Nolan is also in this tree, as Mike worked for him and Jim Haslett and famously was in the barn for a number of those years. And then lastly, we have Bill Cowher in here. Um, Great coach. So I have a mixed bag of opinions because as we go down this tree here and we see these faces, um, Marvin Lewis was one of the best defensive coordinators under Brian Billick, and really he was leading Ray Lewis and that team for a long time. Hugh Jackson was also working under Marvin Lewis in Cincinnati and leading a successful team who used to fan out in the playoffs quite a bit. Vance Joseph, another defensive coordinator. Tony Dungy comes from this tree. Dungy was groomed by Chuck Noll, Dennis Green, but he was one of Schottenheimer's assistants. Monte Kiffin was a mentor for Pete Carroll. Could we see Dallas go in this direction as well? Older head coach, Super Bowl experience, um, kind of wants to discipline a roster, but's a player's coach as well. I could see them looking at a retread like, you know, Pete Carroll here. And Dan Quinn is coming under this tree. And Quinn was under Steve Mariucci, Nick Saban, but he learned the most from Pete Carroll. He coordinated Seattle's defenses from 2013 and 2014. So Dan Quinn is also coming under Pete Carroll, who likely has a ton of respect from the Jones family. And let's not forget about Mike Tomlin, who continues to build this Steelers team with a mediocre roster and not only compete in one of the toughest divisions in football, but they look like a contender year in and year out. Dick Cotter, not sure where he comes from here, but guys, I think this is a great article. And really what this article was about was these three different trees that we're looking at. And these three trees are the Schottenheimer tree, the Parcells tree, and then finally the Holmgreen tree. We have Andy Reid coming from the Holmgreen tree that has some successful coaches, most of them in the AFC there. We have the Parcells tree, which is a little bit of an older style, but there's still a lot of coaches in here that are currently in the NFL. Todd Bowles, you know, Bill Belichick deserves another shot. And then let's look at this tree one more time. Sean Payton, Mike Zimmer, current defensive coordinator for Dallas Cowboys. Mike Vrabel, lots of people would love him as a defensive coordinator right now. So that's a solid tree there. But I would love for us to do a little bit of research and dig into this Kyle Shanahan tree. And if that's the route that we're going to go, then let's see if we can find anything on the internet pointing us in that direction and really where this coaching tree is going. Robert Saleh. I'll bring this up here and let's take a look. So Kyle Shanahan's coaching tree now. Let's dive into this. So this is Mike Holmgreen's coaching tree, the younger side of it, and interesting enough, this is not coming from Andy Reid's side, but this is coming from John Gruden's toolage. So Robert Saleh, defensive coordinator, got hired as a New York Jets head coach, fired as a New York Jets head coach. 3 seasons into his job, Rodgers torn Achilles kind of derailed the first season. He survived, and then he was on the hot seat this season with a couple of losses cementing his firing. Mike McDaniels consistently proving that he's a great offensive mind, but he is going through a ton of struggles, and most of them being his quarterback having concussions and not being involved and not being available to the team. So that's been a concern for them as well. And D'Amico Ryans, very successful head coach. See, we're going down this Mike Holmgreen tree into this younger side. Every single coach that we're going through, somebody that I'd be interested in hiring. I would love for D'Amico Ryans to be the head coach of our team. I think he'd take the most out of Micah Parsons. He'd build the defense, and not only that, he'd be interested in drafting a young quarterback. I would love for Mike McDaniels to be the head coach of our team. I feel like he'd take the most out of Dak Prescott, CeeDee Lamb, and he'd actually give us some kind of a run game. And Robert Sala would do probably the same with Micah Parsons. At least he'd make us the top three defense in the league week in and week out, and we would figure it out from there. Mike LaFleur. Right now, this is Matt LaFleur's brother. He's working on the Rams, and looks like he's a younger coach. And I don't think really we would be interested at all in giving somebody this young the reins to the Dallas Cowboys. But Bobby Slowick is somebody who spent time on Shanahan's staff with the 49ers, served as an offensive coordinator, and he's been doing excellent with CJ Stroud. And he looks like he's a rising star as well. Guys, I worked on a project here at PFF and graduated this program where I was a data analyst for quite some time. And really, Bobby Slowick was one of the stars that they would go through and say that he went through this program and he was a person that came out of it that got this kind of head coaching experience. So, Bobby Slowick is somebody that is coming up, and he's going to be snatched as a head coach, and I would put him out there as a candidate. Um, Stay tuned, guys. This is a great live stream. Good first one. We'll see how it came out in terms of the content, the quality, and all that stuff, and they'll get better as I continue to do these videos. Appreciate you guys watching. Appreciate everybody kind of tuning in, and guys, we'll get into draft prep. Our season's still somewhat alive. If we can win, there's weirder things that have happened in the NFL, and we just need a couple of tiebreakers to go our way. But we really haven't played anybody in our division, so big game coming up 1 o'clock on Sunday against the Falcons, and you guys will get another video from me this week, kind of going into some QB draft prep, and if the live came out good, we'll kind of keep them going this way, and I'll keep popping on live so that way I'm on Twitch and YouTube, and shortly on X as well. All right, thanks, guys.